I'm Joshua Bardwell, and you're going to learn something today. Today, you're going to learn what I take with me when I go on a trip or when I go to the field in my QuadGuard backpack. And this is one of those topics that feels kind of so banal to me that I kind of didn't even want to do it. But people do keep asking me what I take with me when I travel. And I do travel a lot, so maybe I'm kind of somewhat of an authority on that. And I do really love this stupid backpack. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. Stay tuned. When I first heard about the LowePro QuadGuard line of backpacks, I kind of thought it was a stupid gimmick. But I have come to really like this stupid backpack. I really love it, and I don't know, it would be much harder to travel without it. One of the nice things about having a backpack like this is that you can simply set it up, load it up, and have it ready to go at a moment's notice. In fact, I have a second set of tools, all of my screwdrivers and hex drivers, a multi-reader, my little portable soldering iron. I have a second set of tools that I simply leave in the bag so that when I go to travel, I just stuff my quads, my goggles, my transmitter in there, a few odds and ends, and then I don't have to worry about if I've got everything I need. I just hate having to take everything out and move it back to my bench. It's just too much chance of forgetting something. And that's one of the big conveniences of having a pack like this if you want to spend a little bit extra money to get a second set of tools. One of the things that I think is really typical of the mindset that you have to bring to a pack like this is how I've arranged my tools here. I discovered early on that the pack was just deep enough to just stuff the tools down nose first like that, and they go right in there, and then you can, as you see, you can just pull them out as you need to. But one of the things that went wrong is I had all the tools in a single compartment, and they would kind of slump over diagonally because the compartment wasn't stuffed full, and then I'd have to kind of fish around to get them out. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do? And then I realized you can just put another freaking divider in here, and you can see now they're all stuffed in there in a single row, right? And they stay nice and neat, and you can just get exactly what you need out. And it's just really, once you adopt that mindset that you're just going to make the pack fit exactly what you need it to do, you really get a lot of, anyway, it's pretty cool. So here's what I take with me when I go on a trip or when I go on a day to the flying field. And we'll start up here in the lid where I've got, this is the power cable for the TS100 portable soldering iron. I've got a review of that. This is a Leatherman, it's a Leatherman Wave. I think it's a really great tool. It just gets a lot done on the road that would be hard to get done otherwise. Don't lose it at TSA like I did once by accidentally leaving it in the bag. I used to have the titanium version. They took it. And I didn't remember how much it cost, so I let them take it, or I would have tried harder to keep it. Diagonal cutters, SD cards here. That's just what I've got stuffed in there. The batteries I always put down in this bag. This is technically supposed to be a tool bag, but I'll do whatever the hell I want with it. And this will hold easily 20 or 30 batteries. They all go down in there. That's in the bottom of the pack, which is what I like. You can easily take all your batteries out later, or I usually just leave it here when I'm flying. Leave this flipped open and just reach in and pull them out. It does leave a conundrum of where you put your used batteries to keep them separate from your full batteries, but I just set them on the ground next to the pack typically. Here I've got my tools, and I've got a set of hex wrenches. I've got a 1 millimeter, a 2 millimeter, and a 2.5 millimeter. Those are the most common sizes I use. I've got a video about these hex wrenches. This is the TS100 portable soldering iron. It's a beauty of a soldering iron. Wonderful for soldering on the road. This is, I think, the best way to put your props on and off. Many people will disagree, but it's a little ratcheting box wrench. And this is a set of jeweler's tweezers. The nice thing about jeweler's tweezers is that they spring closed on their own, and they don't provide a lot of tension, but if you just need to hold something and manipulate it, I think they're really great. Moving over to here, we've got, these are the nut drivers. I've got a video about them. And I've got the, this is the prop size, and then this is, what size is it should say on it? 5.5 millimeter is the smaller size that's used for the M3 nuts. That's the size you use for them. So those are the two most common sizes. And then I've got a set of screwdrivers, and there's the same video that talks about all those other tools, talks about these. I've got a small and a large Phillips and a small and a large flathead. Finally, I've got some hemostats. These are freaking amazing. If you can get, unfortunately, I got these from a friend whose wife works at a hospital and got some. Really know the circumstances in which she got some. I assume she didn't steal them, but anyway, she got some from work, and and then she gave them to me. So these are actual nice hospital grade. They're beautiful. The cheaper ones that you get from Amazon, they're not quite as good, but they're still worth having. And I do keep both this style with the curved. That's nice for reaching into places, and the stubby kind on hand. Moving on. We've got a roll of electric tape. Don't leave home without it. My signature red electric tape. I've got a roll of solder. I accidentally bought this. This is the thick solder. Don't buy this. This is not really what you want. See how thick that is? You want this stuff. This is the thinner stuff. But it is nice that it's got it's in a thin roll, so it's easy to fit down in here. This is 6040 rosin core solder, leaded, of course. Don't screw around with lead-free solder unless you're a manufacturer. Roll of foam tape, a thin roll of foam tape, and a misc box of, I got some motor nuts, I've got some M3 screws, some spare antennas for my X4R, and some zip ties. Where did I get this box? Well, I'll show you. Never throw out anything useful, kids. It's an empty one of these. My multimeter, got a video on this, and, oh no, this is this is just wasting space. This, recognize that box. This is a brass sponge for my soldering iron, because I hate not having a place to clean the soldering iron when I'm in a hotel. So it turns out that this little brass sponge fits perfectly into a U-bag box, and the reason for that is I don't want it getting little solder bits all over my bag. So there you go. And oh, what's down in there? Laying flat down in the bottom. The stuff I hardly ever need to get at. It is a wow. Spare video transmit. I don't even know why that's. I must have been going to repair something. Yeah, that doesn't need to be in there. Some silicone wire, 18 gauge silicone wire, some spare XT60s. There's some 14 gauge silicone wire down there for repairing a battery lead. It's for ESCs or motor wires, spare connectors and miscellaneous. But it's way down in the bottom because I won't be getting down in there very much. And to tell you the truth, that's actually mostly what I need when I'm on a trip. That is everything I would need, more or less, to build a quad, you know. I guess I'm missing a few things like shrink wrap, heat shrink, so I could put a few spare pieces of heat shrink in there. But, you know, that's all the tools and stuff. The major stuff is all there. So all this extra space here, it's kind of extra. On many trips, I wouldn't even use this stuff here. But when I go on a longer trip, I also take these. These are 5S batteries. 5 amp hour. That is just big enough that they fit underneath the TSA's regulation of 100, I think, watt hours. For safety, I have added an automotive fuse to the discharge leads. Always keeps the TSA guys happy. And I use these for various things, but one of the things I use them for is I have a USB charger that you can plug this into, and you can top off your GoPro when you're in the field. You can also use it to charge your ISDT charger, which I take with me. Now this I usually would not take to a day at the field. I don't usually field charge. I usually just bring enough batteries with me that I can keep them topped up. But if I'm going on a longer trip, then I would bring this with me to charge in the field. And I could charge off these 5 amp hour batteries, or I can charge off of this power supply. Now this is a 19 volt laptop power supply. It's rated for 75 watts. It's from an old laptop that died, and never throw these out, guys. I just modded it with an XT60 connector, and it's good for two things. Number one, it's good for the ISDT. Now it'll only charge at 75 watts. And the nice thing about the ISDT is that you can actually set in the setup menu. Just long press this button from the main screen and you'll get to the setup menu. You can set the max watts it'll do. So you can set this to 75 watts, and then you don't have to worry about remembering what your max charge rate should be to not damage this. And then when you get home, you got to remember to set it back to 500 watts. Otherwise, you'll be like, why aren't my batteries charged yet? Jeez. Yeah, I did that this morning. So the nice thing about this is it does work with the ISDT, and it also works with this connector here for the TS100 soldering iron. So I can charge batteries or I can use the soldering iron at the same time. Of course, the soldering iron will also work off of these 5S batteries if I happen to have one topped off. So there's a lot of versatility there to let you do what you need to do. And I've charged batteries in the field, in a hotel room. You know, I've charged up a bunch of 1300s. It takes a while, but it does get done. Just got to remember to do it the night before. Coming to here, the main compartment. This is you can easily get 2 quads in here. There's a picture of only one, but nobody'll put you in jail if you put 2 in here. And you can see this little 4-inch guy. This is Legero, and that's my Chameleon. They'll fit in there even with the props on the Legero, although they'll probably be a little better if I took them off, but they go in there no problem side by side. The nice thing about these guys is that they don't have a GoPro mount on top. So like my QAV-R with the GoPro mount on top, it's got to go on the outside because it just sticks up too high to close this on top of it. So I got 2 quads in there, and then, no, I gotta take them off of there. Hold on. In order to really open this up enough to show you guys, I could get stuff in and out, but in order to really show you, it actually rips off, but I don't like redoing the Velcro, so I'm not going to do that. This is where I keep my transmitter and my goggles. You can see the goggles slide down nicely in there. They feel reasonably safe and secure. Transmitter slides down in there. The antenna, it's really built for like a Spectrum style antenna. This one kind of doesn't fit perfectly, but I've never had it take any damage or anything, so there's no problem. And then down here in these compartments, I keep a couple. Let me take that out of there. Get out of the way, you. In these compartments, I keep a spare Fat Shark battery. This is a battery checker. Another spare Fat Shark battery. Oh, what do we got here? There's a GoPro. That's actually a Mobius Mini. I'll be doing a review of that soon. Mobius Mini. I'll stick. And then over here, I've got some extra antennas. These are my left-handed antennas that maybe someday I'll ever use, but probably never. I stick a GoPro in there. Whatever. Just miscellaneous, of course. And that is basically the whole interior of the bag. On the exterior, I have. This is where I keep my cable pouch. This is one of the $20 cable pouches that came with my Think Tank care package. You can get it from Think Tank's website if you want to spend $20 on a cable pouch. Many people were incensed at the idea that I would suggest that one should pay $20 for a cable pouch. Hey, I don't mean to offend you, but there it is. And in it, I keep, there's an HDMI cable for the Fat Sharks. There's an AV cable for the Fat Sharks. And then this is where I keep my props, really for lack of a better place. That's where I keep all my props. And there's all this nice, oh, look, you could put tools here and whatnot. But the problem is that when you're actually using the bag, this lays down flat on the ground, and then the back opens up. So you really can't easily get into this when you're at the field or whatever. So I don't think you should put tools or anything you would really want to get into when you're at the field into that section. But you can kind of lift it up to get your props out if you need to. And then over here, I keep nothing. That's just unused. I don't have anything to put in there. There's one more thing that I often take on trips that I didn't mention, and that is this. This is the B3 Pro compact charger. It came with, I think it came with the Ishin Wizard, and I kept it, although I don't have the Wizard anymore. It's really nice because it plugs straight into the wall, and it'll charge a 2S or 3S battery simply by plugging it into the balance port. So this is real nice for topping off your goggle battery overnight while your other batteries are charging on the ISDT. It's a little supplemental charger, and it's a very useful thing to have. I usually take it in my suitcase, really. I don't have a great place. I just stick it in here, right? But that's another little thing that I didn't mention that I think is really nice to have. And that is what I take with me on a trip when I go flying at the park or when I go on a much longer trip. That's what I take. Obviously, some of that will not fly on an airplane. So what I do is I just pack it into one of these little tool packs here, and I put it in my check bag. Any of the tools and stuff that wouldn't fly on an airplane. The LiPos will go on an airplane, by the way. You have to take the LiPos with you on your carry-on. You cannot check them. I got a video about that as well. But the tools go in here. Don't forget that, or the TSA will take them, and then you'll cry. But then when you get where you're going, you just put them back in the bag, and you're good to go. Thanks for watching. Happy flying.